Next up, should the Alabama woman who joined ISIS be allowed to come back into the U.S.?
We would see dead bodies in public. We would see kids seeing dead bodies in public. We would see limbs splattered on the floor. And seeing it with your own eyes really made you wake up and change.
She's a terrorist. She's not coming back. She's not a U.S. citizen. She is not entitled to U.S. citizenship. And she's not coming back to our country to pose a threat.
She's willing to pay whatever debts she has to society. She's even willing to spend years behind bars if that's the debt she owes. And she wants to speak out to ensure that other young women are not brainwashed and manipulated into committing the same horrible mistakes that she's done.
If she did believe in the citizenship oath, she abandoned it and actually violated it and became an enemy combatant.
There are actually two cases, one here in the U.S. with this woman from Alabama, Hoda Muthana, and the other woman from the UK, and the UK is saying you can't come back either, Shamima Begum, both of them tied to ISIS, leaving their homeland to go to ISIS, to be with ISIS fighters, and to post online urging ISIS to attack Americans and Europeans. The president tweeting, the United States is asking Britain, France, Germany, and other European allies to take back over 800 ISIS fighters that we captured in Syria and put them on trial. The caliphate is ready to fall. The alternative is not a good one, and that we will be forced to release them. Yesterday, tweeting, I have instructed Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and he fully agrees, not to allow Hoda Muthana back into the country, specifically on this case. Morgan, thoughts?
I think it speaks volumes that she'd rather rot in an American jail than eat grass in these ISIS camps. So that is a masterful defeat of the caliphate, at least from a PR perspective. We've got a couple of issues going on here. We've got the factual and legal basis of was she ever an American citizen or not? Was she born on the diplomatic blue list when her father was at the UN? So that's one issue that clearly the State Department will have to deal with from a legal perspective. The other issue is, of course, is what do we do with enemy combatants in general? And this is still, 17 years, 18 years after 9/11, we're still dealing with this. The Europeans, of course, hate Gitmo, but at the same time, they don't have a real process for enemy combatants. They're trying to try them as criminals. So I think what we likely need here, and some senators have talked about this, is perhaps some sort of international regime to try these enemy combatants, because we can't take all of these people and put them in Gitmo, and no one clearly wants them in their country. So we're going to have to come up with another legal mechanism to deal with these fighters.
It's a big issue. Matthew.
We have room in Gitmo, and if she's not an American citizen, that's where she should go. If she's a citizen, we can indict her. That's what Andy McCarthy recommends, and I agree with him. So the choice is relatively simple. I feel like we're looking through the wrong end of the telescope here. Why are we feeling any sympathy for this woman when ISIS is a genocidal former regime, thank goodness, that murdered women, murdered children, devastated Christians and other religious minorities? So the choice is a simple one. Citizen, indict. Non-citizen, Gitmo.
Well, I think Secretary of State Pompeo was pretty clear. I mean, he's pretty cut and dry.
Well, I don't think he was clear enough, because I would like to hear from them their rationale for why she's not a citizen. So I've heard the birthright argument, but she got a passport, and there is some debate about whether he was a diplomat or because he ended his diplomatic service.
A month before.
Sure, but she got a passport. So then the other part of it is you join a foreign arm. They're not a state. It's a terrorist organization. She pretty clearly, in my estimation, committed treason, which is one of the ways you lose your citizenship. But then, again, you'd have to go through a court process. So I just want to know, I just want to hear them clearly state their case for why she's not a citizen, why she can't come into the country. Because if she is a citizen, the law's the law. You have to go through the process.
What do we think happens if these foreign countries don't take these fighters back? What happens to these, 800 plus that are in northeastern Syria?
Yeah, this is why we have to come up with some sort of legal resolution with the Europeans. It makes no sense that we would take an American citizen like Anwar al-Awlaki and kill him via a drone strike, kill his son 2 weeks later via a drone strike during the Obama administration. So you can kill American citizens without due process in the middle of a war zone, but you don't have a legal mechanism for what to do with them. So this is one of those instances in which the Europeans really like to push stuff under the rug. And as we get near the end of this war in Syria, we're going to have to deal with it.
Ted Cruz had a bill, the Expatriate Terrorist Act, that he submitted in a previous Congress that would strip them of citizenship as soon as they leave for enemy territory. He should resubmit that bill, and Congress should pass it and the president sign it.
Is there a sense inside the White House that the Syria part is coming to an end, that this president is going to get those troops back?
Well, Trump wants to. There's been a rearguard action from people like Lindsey Graham trying to get him to commit to some kind of skeletal U.S. presence there in a stabilization force or something in a buffer zone. There's also another zone where they're wanting to keep people more long-term. Trump wants them out. So I think it's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be a long-term substantial presence there under the Trump administration. But, you know, there's a lot of wiggle room there and you know, TBD.
And the request that maybe other European countries fill the void of U.S. troops coming out didn't seem like it was met with a lot of happiness over in Germany.
Yeah, I was there at the Munich Security Conference. I think that there was a lot of issues, you know, namely Merkel giving her probably final speech and quite angry at the administration over a few things. But, you know, saying that, I mean, from a political perspective, I'd love to know, what do the 2020 Democrat candidates think about this? You know, what do they want to do with these fighters? Do they want to send them to Gitmo? And this is the real world stuff that these guys need to start answering. And I think, you know, we don't want this stuff to be political, but it is. And if the president is forcing 2020 Democrats to, you know, defend these actions or defend what to do with these terrorists, it's just a winner for him every day.
Panel, thank you. When we come back, a little forecast to Vietnam.